Extraterrestrial civilization. DE5 contact with extraterrestrial civilization. Saving the world's biosphere with these new technologies. Experience with consciousness. Experience with consciousness. 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 Experience with consciousness. Where? Consciousness. Consciousness. Where? Experience with consciousness. Experience with consciousness.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey. Welcome back, friends. So tonight we are going to be doing something a little differently, and that is because I've been asked to give a live presentation someplace about the dangers of conspiracy theories, the real world implications and dangers of some of these things. Now, it's easy to think that it's all harmless fun, but as we have seen detailed here on our show, people have literally been murdered over the often mistaken belief in a conspiracy theory as truth or factual. And so certainly they can be dangerous. We saw the dangers of the so-called QAnon conspiracy, or some will call it a cult, back in January, largely created a lot of discontent in those people who decided to storm the Capitol. Whatever you think of it, it's easy to argue that it was created in part by Q. So tonight we're going to be doing a special presentation, sort of a practice run for me, on the dangers of conspiracy theories. I have some graphics to share, and otherwise we're going to be sharing with you this presentation. I want to welcome everyone. And actually, before we begin, somebody asked me about Corey Goode, and somebody asked me, sorry, friends, one button too few here. That'll do. Okay, so somebody asked me about Corey Goode, and in our presentation, I mentioned that I had left out one important clip, and that is a clip where Corey Goode claimed to work on Mars and live on Mars, building bases for people. Yet in his deposition, he said something quite opposed to that. And just in the interest of completion, right? I did leave that clip out. But I got it, I found it, and it's in our bumpers as well. So for the benefit of you people who asked, and by the way, I had some very nasty Blue Avian cult members apparently contact me and tell me that Corey Goode never said that he lived on Mars. Corey Goode never said that. And I said, okay, but I have a clip of it. In any case, I'm not, I don't want to, we'll just show the evidence that I had, that I based the statements that I made on, because facts are important. And it's good to have facts in hand before putting mouth in gear. So if you messaged me or email me, especially if you're nasty to me and you say things like Corey Goode never said that he lived on Mars, make sure you have facts in hand before putting mouth in gear. Here's a short clip before we begin tonight's presentation on the darker side of conspiracy theories.
Never lived on Mars. No, never said that.
You never said that you lived on Mars?
No.
Objection.
They would ship, everything was prefabricated. Everything had been put together on Earth, designed to go together like a puzzle by numbers. And I helped actually to build out an outpost on Mars. And we used a lot of the local materials on the surface after they had built below ground. And it was very much like this. It was much lower tech than you would expect.
Never lived on Mars. No, never said that.
You never said that you lived on Mars?
No.
Objection.
All right, so with that, there was my evidence. They were public statements that Corey Goode had made previously that I was aware that he made. So, it's important to note that I generally try to have facts in hand before I put my mouth in gear. And though I will certainly make mistakes, yeah, Corey Goode said that he lived on Mars and built bases on Mars. And then in his deposition, he said he'd never been to space, he'd never been to the moon, and he'd never been to Mars. This is certainly the problem. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll begin tonight's presentation. Pardon me for the lack of PowerPoint, but I don't have it on this actual computer that we do the show on. So we're going to begin here. So conspiracy theories have long captivated the minds of many people, and for various reasons. Some may find them intriguing, while others find them comforting in their ability to provide explanations for complex and often unsettling events. However, there is a darker side to this fascination with conspiracy theories, as they have been linked to many detrimental things, including mental illness, crime, and discontent in society. One reason why people may be drawn to conspiracy theories is the sense of control that they can provide. The world can be a chaotic and unpredictable place, and conspiracy theories can offer a way to make sense of it all by identifying a hidden hand behind the scenes pulling the strings. This can be particularly appealing to individuals who feel a lack of agency in their own lives. Another reason is that they can be used to explain away personal failures and shortcomings. People might turn to conspiracy theories as a way to deflect blame away from themselves and onto a shadowy cabal or powerful elite. This can be a way of coping with feelings of inadequacy or feelings of helplessness. However, the consequences of indulging in conspiracy theories can be severe. They've been linked to an increased risk of mental health issues such as anxiety and depression, as well as a decline in overall well-being and mood. This is because conspiracy theories often involve a mistrust of authority and institutions, which can certainly lead to feelings of alienation and isolation in many. Moreover, conspiracy theories have been linked to criminal activity, particularly in cases where individuals take violent action based on their belief in a particular conspiracy theory. This is because conspiracy theories can fuel a sense of anger and resentment, which can lead some individuals to take extreme measures to fight against the supposed or alleged conspirators in the conspiracy theory. Furthermore, conspiracy theories can also contribute to societal discontent by eroding trust in government, which I believe is sometimes well placed, however, eroding trust in media, which again, I think there's many things that are questionable about the media, and this is why conspiracy theories work, and distrust in other institutions. This can lead to a breakdown in societal cohesion and a lack of faith in the democratic process. But one might argue that the rich, powerful, and elite give us many reasons to have a lack of faith in the democratic process or to believe in a conspiracy that there are some rich and powerful ruling class pulling the strings. But in conclusion, I would say that while conspiracy theories can be alluring, they can also have detrimental effects on the individual's mental health as well as on society as a whole. It's important to be aware of the potential dangers of indulging in conspiracy theories and to seek out credible information from reliable sources wherever possible. So I think it's okay to, remember, we have to keep in mind here that conspiracy theories are not just entertainment, right? It is a source of real societal problems, and I think that's something that gets missed. It's all fun and games until somebody who believes in reptilian aliens takes a gun and kills people. Or in the case of Murder in UFO Land, in our Murder in UFO Land series, we saw someone take a knife to their father and kill him, murder him. In another of our Murder in UFO Land stories, we saw a father load his children into a vehicle, cross the Mexican border, take a spear gun and murder both of his children, and leave their bodies discarded like trash on some Mexican farm in the middle of nowhere. And why did he do that? Because he was completely and totally convinced in some of these internet conspiracy theories. So while I can give you more examples of conspiracy theories leading to very serious crimes, including multiple murders, let's examine that. So conspiracy theories have been around for centuries, but in more recent years, they have become increasingly prevalent and visible. And this is thanks to the internet, of course, and social media. Social media and the internet are largely responsible in the rise of conspiracy theories. And while some people may find them intriguing or even entertaining, the impact of these theories can be much more severe and even deadly. In particular, conspiracy theories have been linked to murder and suicide. One of the most well-known examples of this is the tragedy at Branch Davidian Compound in Waco, Texas in 1993. The cult's leader, David Koresh, had convinced his followers that the government was out to get them and they needed to prepare for an impending apocalypse. The standoff, which law enforcement ended in a devastating fire that killed 76 people, including 25 children. It's really tragic that that ended that way. 76 people died there, including 25 children. Another example is the case of the QAnon shaman who participated in January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. And I have some of these Q images. One second. So this Q conspiracy really took hold in the right wing of the United States political party, or system. Incredible, actually, how prominent it got. So a good example is the case of the QAnon shaman who participated in January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, which was driven by QAnon conspiracy theories. This individual, who later on was arrested, believed that the government was controlled by a cabal of satanic pedophiles and that Donald Trump was working to take them all down. Additionally, conspiracy theories have been linked to suicide, and a study published in the Journal of Affective Disorders found that individuals who believe in conspiracy theories are more likely to experience suicidal thoughts. This is likely due to the feelings of hopelessness and helplessness that can be associated with conspiracy theories, as well as a mistrust of authority and institutions. Moreover, the impact of these theories can be seen in the realm of healthcare with the rise of anti-vax conspiracy theories, which have led to a decline in vaccination rates and a resurgence in preventable diseases. It's important to note that not all conspiracy theories are inherently dangerous, but when they are based on misinformation and spread through social media, they can be damaging to individuals, to families, to society as a whole. It's crucial to seek out credible information from reliable sources and to try to be mindful of the potential consequences of indulging in conspiracy theories. And while conspiracy theories can be alluring, even intriguing, they can also have severe and even deadly consequences. It's essential to be aware of the potential dangers of indulging in conspiracy theories and seek out reliable sources. Do your own research. Don't just accept what people tell you, or especially try to sell you. It is also important to be mindful of the potential consequences of spreading misinformation and to consider the impact it can have on individuals, families, and societies as a whole. So I wanted to cover some of the more notable characters in conspiracy land, and I know I have a Bill Cooper here. And by the way, we could just cover this first. So many conspiracy theories I've noticed are centered around the Freemasons, and you may wonder why. It's a fraternal organization said to take good men and make them better men. But it is got a long history. And interestingly, many powerful people in the United States, there is a history of many powerful people in the United States being members of the Freemasons. This could be why conspiracy theories have developed that they are controlling the world. They are worshiping Satan to get earthly power and other things. I've known a few Freemasons, and I found them to be good, moral, upstanding citizens. I haven't seen any real evidence of these conspiracy theories surrounding the Freemasons. Quite possibly, it's a misinterpretation of what it is they really do. And calling it a secret society is kind of a joke, considering almost everything about Freemasonry can be bought for $10 in a bookstore. Not quite the secret Illuminati type organization that people portray it to be in conspiracy theories. And of course, there is the Illuminati, which has recently taken on new popularity. Did you know that there's even an Illuminati ball in New York City? That's right. These Illuminati people can get together with their fellow Illuminati rulers of the world and have a big party. Interesting that it has somehow taken on a life of its own, this Illuminati. Yes, there was evidence of just such an organization, but you have to connect an incredible amount of dots when you get into these Illuminati conspiracy theories. Now, I wanted to talk for a moment about Bill Cooper, because I think Bill Cooper previous to Alex Jones, was the preeminent conspiracy theorist in the United States, and he often gets lost in that sort of history. Bill Cooper talked about aliens, the government being in possession of the alien vehicles and bodies and more. And Mr. Cooper was a conspiracy theorist, a radio show host, and an author. He gained notoriety in the 1990s for his controversial views and theories, and he was best known for his 1991 book, Behold the Pale Horse. And I don't know why I have such a terribly tiny picture. I apologize, but that's his book. That's terrible. So here's Bill Cooper. Okay, and he claimed that the government was involved in everything from UFOs and mind control to global warming and New World Order. And despite the lack of evidence that he had to support many of his claims, Cooper's ideas found a wide audience, particularly among those who felt disillusioned and disenfranchised with government and mainstream media. In addition to his theories, Cooper was also known for his confrontational and often combative approach to political and social issues. He frequently engaged in heated debates and arguments with those who disagreed with him, and he was not afraid to speak out against those in power. However, despite his immense popularity, Cooper's theories and tactics ultimately led to his downfall. In 2001, he was killed in a confrontation with law enforcement just outside his home in Arizona. The police had been called to the scene after Cooper threatened to shoot anyone who entered his property. And in the ensuing confrontation, Cooper was shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy. In conclusion, Bill Cooper was a controversial figure whose conspiracy theories and confrontational approach to politics and social issues gained him a wide audience, but ultimately would lead to his death. His theories, which often lacked evidence and relied on sensationalism, were not accepted by mainstream and were debunked by real experts. But still, Mr. Cooper's conspiracy theories resonated with many disillusioned individuals. Cooper's death also serves as a tragic reminder of the dangers of indulging in conspiracy theories and the importance of seeking out credible information from reliable sources. We keep coming back to that, how important it is to seek out credible information from reliable sources. And I think, there's another picture. Bill Cooper was a legend in his time. Again, pre-Alex Jones. And by the way, he didn't like Alex Jones. There's a famous clip of him, I'll have to get it, of him going after Alex Jones. But interesting that many of today's conspiracy theories really had their seed in one Bill Cooper. A lot of the things that you hear, some of these UFO celebrities or conspiracy theory book pushers today, it's all just takeoffs on Bill Cooper's original stories. And by the way, Bill Cooper's stories were takeoffs of somebody else's original stories. And this is how a mythos is created. And it's interesting to see Bill Cooper still having, I would say, a pretty significant cultural impact today. All right. And now we get to some more of the darker side of conspiracy theories. One second. Let me do this again. Yeah. And I will share my screen again. Here we go. All right, so I wanted to take a moment to talk about these reptilian alien conspiracies because we have seen through our Murder in UFO Land series that I believe, pardon me, I truly believe that the most dangerous conspiracy theory in my research and experience is the reptilian alien conspiracy, because literally many people have been murdered over this reptilian alien conspiracy theory. So when we talk about the darker side of conspiracy theories, the reptilian alien one is certainly on the dark side, simply because of its connection to just so many people murdering people due to their extreme belief in this particular conspiracy theory. It's also known, I would like to be sure to mention, it's also known as the reptilian humanoids conspiracy theory. And it is a belief that certain individuals or groups, including political leaders, are actually shape-shifting reptilian creatures from another planet. This belief has been around for decades, but recently gained more attention in recent years due to the proliferation of conspiracy theories on the internet. The origins of this conspiracy theory can be traced back to David Icke, a British conspiracy theorist who popularized this idea that a secret cabal of reptilian beings from the constellation Draco are manipulating humanity for their own gain. He published several books and has given many lectures on the subject, and his ideas have been widely shared and disseminated online. While the theory may seem harmless or even comical, it has led to real-world violence. For example, in 2002, a man named Richard McCullum broke into a police station in North Carolina and opened fire on the police officers inside, claiming that they were reptilian aliens. He was killed in the resulting shootout. In another case, a man named Kyle Odom shot a pastor in Idaho in 2016, claiming he has reptilian disguised as human, or claiming, that pastor was a reptilian, somehow disguised as a human. He also left behind a manifesto that detailed his belief in reptilian conspiracy theories. Moreover, the theory has also been used to justify acts of domestic violence, including murder, as some people believe that their partners are reptilian. This is extremely dangerous and a harmful belief, and it can lead to violence and abuse. And we can see multiple examples of that, and even some more recent examples of that. It's important to note that the theory of reptilian humanoids is not based on any scientific evidence, and it has been debunked for years. It's a product of imagination and a form of misinformation. While conspiracy theories can be alluring and seductive, I would say, one must be very, very careful, because some of these conspiracy theories are on the dark side of conspiracy, and there's a reason for that. If people are literally going out and murdering people because of their belief in a particular conspiracy theory, that is a dangerous and dark conspiracy theory. Okay, so I also wanted to make sure that we talk about some of the effects that conspiracy theories can have even on groups or religious groups. Let me get to this. So we're going to talk for a moment, when we're on the darker side of conspiracy land, what about mass suicide, right? A belief in a conspiracy theory so strongly that you're willing to take your own life. The Heaven's Gate cult believed that a UFO was flying behind a comet, and they had to exit their vehicles. That was their term for committing suicide, freeing their souls from their body so that they could get on that spaceship. Okay, so let me just share this. And this is this resulting scene. People murdered. So the Heaven's Gate cult was a religious group founded in the 1970s by Marshall Applegate and Bonnie Nettles. The group believed that they were on a mission to reach an extraterrestrial spacecraft that was following the comet Hale-Bopp. By the way, many of you have asked me to cover a certain remote viewer, and he was involved in this. It was a certain remote viewer on Art Bell who saw a UFO behind the comet. And that's what Heaven's Gate believed, that an extraterrestrial spacecraft was following the comet Hale-Bopp, which they believed was a sign of the end times. The belief led to mass suicide of 39 members of the cult in 1997. The Heaven's Gate cult belief in UFOs and extraterrestrial life was rooted in various conspiracy theories. The group believed that the government and the mainstream media were hiding the truth about UFOs, and that they were the chosen ones to ascend to a higher level of existence and do so on a UFO. They also believed that the end of the world was imminent and that the only way to survive it was to reach the UFO. Yeah, tragic what happened. Okay, so Applewhite and Nettles, the leaders of the cult, propagated these theories through their teachings, videos, and website, which were filled with references to aliens, UFOs, ancient texts, and conspiracy theories. The group also claimed to have had contact with extraterrestrial beings and that there were 2 witnesses mentioned in the book of Revelation. The cult's belief in UFOs and end times led to a sense of urgency among its members, who saw the comet Hale-Bopp as a sign that their time was running out. They believed that the only way to reach the UFO was to leave their physical bodies behind. And so on March 26, 1997, some 39 members of the cult committed suicide in a coordinated event. It's important. So tragically, March 26, 1997, 39 members of the cult committed suicide in a coordinated event. And we see images, just people in their bed, covered and deceased, trying to get on that comet somehow. Really, really. And we will be doing a full show on Farsight Institute, the remote viewer who fed this group information, right? Created that belief, I would say, that there was a UFO flying behind a comet. And here's Dear Leader. And by the way, this cult was so, I would say, insane that male members of the group were encouraged to get themselves castrated. And many of them did. Marshall Applewhite looking every bit the cult leader, right? Every bit the cult leader. All right, we've got just a few more that I think are important to cover. Let me see if we get back to my other picks. Pardon me, 1 second. There we go. So next we get into Pizzagate. Pizzagate was a conspiracy theory that emerged in 2016, which falsely claimed that a group of high-profile Democrats, including Hillary Clinton, were involved in a child sex trafficking ring based in the basement of a Washington, D.C. pizzeria called Comet Ping Pong. The theory was promoted through social media, blogs, fake news websites, and quickly gained traction among some right-wing circles. The origins of the Pizzagate conspiracy theory can be traced back to the hacked emails of the Clinton campaign and campaign chairman John Podesta, which were published by WikiLeaks. Some of the emails contain references to pizza, which conspiracy theorists claim were code words for child sex trafficking. However, these claims were baseless and had very little, if any, evidence to support them. But despite the lack of evidence, the Pizzagate conspiracy spread rapidly on social media, and with some people even visiting the pizzeria in question in person to investigate the supposed child sex ring. In December 2016, a man named Edgar Madison Welch, who was convinced by the conspiracy theory, entered the pizzeria with an assault rifle, firing shots and looking for the child sex ring. Fortunately, no one was hurt. And I have a shot of that. Here's that gentleman surrendering to police after he went in there and shot up the place. So he was, no one was injured, thankfully, in that event, and he surrendered to police. And he has since spoken out against the dangers of conspiracy theories himself. So the Pizzagate conspiracy theory is really, to me, a prime example of the dangers of accepting conspiracy theories without real evidence, real proof. And it demonstrates how misinformation can spread rapidly on social media and how false claims can lead to real-world violence. It also highlights the importance of critical thinking and fact-checking when consuming information, especially in the digital age where information is just so incredibly easily accessible. Pizzagate is a reminder of the dangers of accepting conspiracy theories. And I think more than anything, this one should be held up as an example of what can happen. And just want to say thank God that no one was hurt. You know, you go into a crowded restaurant with an assault rifle and start shooting up the place. There's a minor miracle that no one was injured, hurt, or killed. But I think Pizzagate is a perfect example of this is the kind of stuff that can happen when people go too deep, when people don't fact check, when people just accept. It's really important to demand evidence when people are making extraordinary claims. And maybe had this person demanded evidence before jumping straight into belief, you know, before belief, there should come contemplation. And I truly believe that. See that? Before I believe something, there's a contemplation period where I think about these things. I examine the evidence in my head and I determine the veracity of the claims being made, right? But it does seem like some people just do a skip. They skip the part with the evidence. They skip the contemplative part. They skip questioning what they're being told and just jump right into belief. And that, my friends, is when it gets really dangerous. So finally, we have QAnon and on and on and on and on. So this is more from the Comet Pizzeria. And by the way, imagine being the owner of a little pizzeria, right? And somebody randomly just chooses your business for this insane posts to be making the rounds online. Incredibly damaging from a financial perspective for this owner of this business who didn't do anything wrong. And we saw other examples of this. For example, Lauren Pritchard, conspiracy theorist, somehow decided that a beer brewery company local to her was running a similar satanic pedophile ring. So she went on the local news and stood outside with signs claiming that they were pedophiles. And that almost destroyed that business. And it was a family business, by the way, multi-generational family business. So some wackadoo just starts making up conspiracy theories about their business with no basis in reality, no basis in fact. By the way, we interviewed that wackadoo, Lauren Pritchard, here. And when we did, I asked her what her evidence, did she have evidence to support her claims against that business? Her evidence was that she saw a diaper on the ground outside of that beer brewery. And that is a signal to other pedos somehow. I was shocked. I'm like, that's your only evidence? You don't have anything else? I was like waiting for where's the rest of your evidence? That's it? You went on television and tried to destroy this family's business with no evidence, no proof, nothing? And that's exactly what she did. And by the way, felt no remorse for doing it. And, monetized YouTube videos for a long time talking about that evil beer brewery and the ring they were running. They weren't running anything. They were running a beer brewing company. So we'll get to the Q, right? Yeah. I can't believe that this one even exists. It's so terrible, but it is what it is. For those unaware or unfamiliar, QAnon is a far-right conspiracy theory that emerged in 2017 and has since gained a significant following, particularly on social media. The theory is centered around the belief that there is a secret cabal of powerful satanic pedophiles who control the government, media, and other institutions. The theory also claims that President Donald Trump was working to take down this cabal and that a great awakening was coming. The origins of QAnon can be traced back to a series of cryptic messages posted on internet forums, which were later dubbed Q drops. These messages claimed to be from a high-level government insider and were used to support various conspiracy theories, such as claims that the government was hiding evidence of the existence of UFOs and that the September 11th attacks were orchestrated by the government. And don't send me any hate mail. That one I might believe. QAnon has gained a significant following, however, particularly in the United States, with some of its followers committing crimes in the name of conspiracy theory. And in the name of Q, people have committed crimes. For example, in 2018, a man named Matthew P. Wright, who was convinced by QAnon conspiracy theories, shut down the Hoover Dam with an armored truck and demanded the release of classified government documents. He was arrested after a standoff with law enforcement. Additionally, the QAnon conspiracy theory was a driving force behind the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, where its followers, convinced by the theory, breached the Capitol building in an attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election. This led to the death of several people and injury of many, many others. Furthermore, QAnon has also been linked to various other crimes, such as domestic violence, child custody disputes, and financial fraud. Some QAnon followers have been arrested for planning to kidnap or even assassinate politicians. It's important to note that QAnon is a baseless conspiracy theory that has been debunked by experts. Often, there is overwhelming evidence that Q is fake in the form of multiple, or some would say many, predictions made by the so-called Q drops that never happened or never came true. No, the Q conspiracy theory is not based on any credible evidence and has been widely discredited. But I will say that QAnon is a dangerous and evidenceless conspiracy theory that has led to a wide range of crime and violence. Its followers have committed a very wide range of crimes in the name of this conspiracy theory, from domestic violence to financial fraud and even political violence. It highlights the importance of being critical of all the information we consume and seek out credible information. I know many, many people who have been affected. People have lost friends and family and more over this QAnon conspiracy theory. This is why it merits significant contemplation in its place on the dark side of conspiracy land. So I will just say a few more things here to conclude our presentation. So conspiracy theories, misinformation, and false information have always existed. But again, the proliferation of these ideas through the internet and social media have led to an increase in their visibility and impact. These ideas can have real-world consequences and often result in tragedy. The real-world dangers of conspiracy theories, misinformation, and false information can be significant. It's important that we realize the dangers of conspiracy theories. It's important that we realize the societal impact of conspiracy theories. Now, I can tell you or talk to you for another 12 hours about conspiracy theories and some of the tragedies that have occurred because of them. But recently I was asked, well, then what's the solution, Stephen? Do we censor some of these conspiracy theories off the internet? And I'm a free speech person, so no. I think that perhaps education would be the best solution, or maybe only solution that I could think of, to the problems that these things are causing. I also think there needs to be better legislation where people who invent or create these conspiracy theories can be held either criminally or civilly responsible when these things happen because of their irresponsible storytelling, which is often, almost always, profit-based, right? These people are out on the internet making up these stories, essentially, or, if you believe the, people who think that there's no harm in this, which is good fun, it's just stories. So people are out there creating these stories, often based on no evidence, little evidence, or connecting a bunch of dots that don't really connect. They're all doing that for money. And there seems to be an incredible lack of people being held responsible. If someone directly quotes, I killed my children because I bought a bunch of David Icke books and was influenced by that, there should be some solution there. But again, I'm a free speech person, so this gets to be a very difficult thing to sort of figure out. What's the best way to do this? What's the best way to handle it? What do you think? Let me know what you think in the live chat. This will conclude our presentation. And thank you guys for letting me get sort of a practice run. If I have to give this live, hopefully I'll do it better next time. And let me know what you think. Is there a darker side to conspiracy land? What are the effects and implications of conspiracy lands running wild or going viral on the internet? Let me know what you think in the live chat. And before we begin interacting with the live chat, and we will certainly read all of the super chats. I got just a few announcements tonight. We'll be right back, friends.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. you'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.
And we are back. And I wanted to mention I have another special surprise that I got in my inbox today. It was a surprise for me. And that was the wonderful music video that we started our broadcast with. So thank you, Simon Fly. And besides that wonderful surprise today, many people keep asking me how they can get in on this Twitch thing with Amazon Prime. For those unaware, we just became a Twitch affiliate. And you can help our show absolutely for free right now if you have an Amazon Prime account. So there's a little bit of confusion about exactly how you do that. But for those unaware, if you have an Amazon Prime account, they give you, I think it's $5 a month, and they own Twitch, and they let you include it with your membership, give that money to a Twitch streamer of your choice. And we are now a Twitch affiliate. So and by the way, thank you to everybody who's already done this, but it's a great way to support the show, and it costs you absolutely nothing. But it's a little confusing how to do it. I said I was going to figure it out and do a tutorial video, but one of our kind and generous viewers beat me to it. Voices in my head on Twitter. So for those who have asked, how do you do it? Here's our friend, Voices in My Head, to show you exactly how you can help the show, and it costs you nothing to do so.
Praise the cash. Just want to do a quick tutorial on how to set up Amazon Prime to Twitch. So if you want to help out Truthseekers show and Steven, I want to put together a quick tutorial. Now, I'm not an expert on this, so I was just playing around. This is how I did it. So you may find a different way to do it, but if you're not sure, I'm going to walk through what I did. First, right up here in Prime Loot. Now, this is on a PC. And not Apple, may be different, but at least you're going to see what I'm doing on my laptop. You're going to see Prime Loot up here. Click that on. And here you're going to have in the purple box to activate your free trial, and it's free. So you just go through that. It'll take you to Prime Gaming. From here, you'll see how to activate your Prime Gaming. I don't think this is necessary to get your free subscription to Twitch from Amazon Prime. I just went and did it because I wasn't sure and I was playing around. So if you're not sure if you want to do this, just skip it and go to the next step. Then over, if you do your drop down on your Amazon account, you're going to have this here to say link Twitch account. So I'm going to click that, and all this is going to do, it's going to link your Amazon account with your Twitch account. So you click link down there in that little button, and it's going to have what is your Twitch name and then your name on your Amazon account. And I'm going to have my name blurred out just so everybody's not seeing it. I'm going to click confirm, and it's going to go through the processes. Now my Amazon account is linked to my Twitch account. I go back to Twitch, and I'm on the Truthseekers show, and right here you got Steven's face there. Just come down here to subscribe, click that, and it's going to bring you all the way down here. Now you can subscribe for $4.99. This is very similar to the YouTube membership, where you can become a member on the YouTube side or watch it for free. Here you can subscribe to his channel and pay $4.99 a month, or you can come up here and click this little box, say use Prime sub. Now it's free. Now I get 1 month. Now the thing is every month I have to go out there and resubscribe. Hopefully they're going to send me an email to remind me to do that. Then I can go out there and I can click this every month, and Steve's going to get some money from Amazon. We do not pay for that. This is part of my Amazon Prime subscription. That this is just one of the services. And I didn't realize it, but Amazon bought Twitch. That's the reason they're putting these two together. So I'm going to do click the subscribe button. Now I am subscribed. I got a founder badge and I got some different stuff, and close. And now I am subscribed. I did not pay anything. However, Steven gets some money to help producing the top quality programming that he's been doing. So go out there and praise the cash and sign up for Twitch subscription, especially if you got Prime. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps Steven out. Thanks.
Yeah, and thank you, Voices in My Head, for explaining that. It's a little more clear. You can also go straight to Amazon, and on the main page of Amazon, there'll be a link to link your Twitch account. And again, then you just go to our Twitch landing page, which is twitch.tv/Truthseekers show, and click that subscribe button, use Prime, and that's a great way to support the show. And I love this idea because it costs the viewers nothing. It's a few clicks of your mouse and you're supporting the show. All right. Now we've got that out of the way. Let's get on to, I will check in with the super chats and all of that stuff. If you have comments or questions for me, please put them in all capital letters and we'll take some comments and questions from the live chat. Really got to probably do some catching up. 1 second, let me get over to here. And I'll also be checking in with the PayPal. And we read every single super chat. We thank every person that becomes a member during our show, and we read all of the PayPal pledges. Instructions for how to help the show in the description of the video. Otherwise, just use that money button, and going forward for the rest of the broadcast, I will be reading every single super chat and putting them on screen. Let's get to the live chat. Questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. I appreciate that. Yeah, put in caps. Please put your questions in caps, right? Oh boy. No, I was not equating that with that. I don't know which presentation or speech you were watching, but I never did equate that hesitancy with mental illness or conspiracy theories. And in fact, I am quite disappointed in the lack of transparency surrounding that. And generally, it has been a long-standing rule of ours, just so you're aware, that we don't discuss that or the health crisis here. And that's because channels left and right, YouTube channels that talked about that, either pro or against that, most of them against, but we're getting stamped out of existence. And quite honestly, I feel that people should make their own health choices. I am not a doctor or a medical health professional, and therefore I'm not qualified to give people advice on what they should do about that. But I have told people to do all the research that you can, speak to your doctor or health professional, and make the best decision for you and your family. And that's my position on it. So no, I'm not really hesitant to talk about it. I suppose it's no longer a death sentence to talk about it here on YouTube, but I feel like I'm not a doctor, right? And I'm certainly not a research scientist. And some of those, I have been reading a lot of these studies that people are citing in their arguments, and some of them are very convincing. But again, I'm not a research scientist, and I'm still researching things myself, right? Did I like The Sopranos? Absolutely. And I was way late to the game, John Griffin. Like, I watched The Sopranos probably after the whole series ended, right? I think we used to have HBO when we had regular cable TV. We haven't had cable TV in a long time. But we had HBO, and I think it was, yeah, I binge watched it. I literally couldn't stop. Like, I was pissed off whenever I had to do something because I wanted to get through it. I binge watched all of it. And I'm glad that I did, because I don't like that. I never liked that waiting, right? Like, oh man, what a great episode. And then it ends on a cliffhanger and you got to wait for the next one. I like binge watching. So yeah, I absolutely love The Sopranos. Didn't care too much for how it ended, but how do you end such an amazing series other than something like that, I guess? Yes, for your Pizzagate research, did you look at WikiLeaks emails, Comet, Ping Pong, Owner, Social Media, and Tony Podesta art? Okay, B. Baker. If you say so, but the jury's really out on that. And by the way, they mentioned more than pizza in those emails. They also mentioned hot dogs and other things that people said were code words. And do those type of people use code words? Maybe. I just think that, by the way, it was supposed to be taking place in the basement of the pizzeria. The pizzeria had no basement. That might be your first clue that this is not accurate information. And yeah, I absolutely am. I am pro medical freedom. I just, two reasons, Sopranos fan. One, they were stamping at channels left and right that said anything against the narrative. And two, I'm not a doctor. And I feel like I have some responsibility to kind of at least keep my mouth shut about it, right? Don't comment on it if I'm not 100% sure who's correct in whatever arguments. Kind of hot button. And for me, I didn't want to become embroiled in that, because I had seen that people were becoming quite obsessive about their viewpoints, whether pro or against or whatever. I certainly was against the lockdowns and other things. The whole thing was handled horribly, and history will reflect that, But don't worry if your business got destroyed, because Walmart and Amazon and all the big box stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, they all got record profits. So don't worry if your business was destroyed. Yeah. So we'll take any more comments or questions. Please put them in all capital letters. It's affected loads of people I know. They have many memory issues. Yeah. I'm hearing a lot of troubling things. I'm hearing many, many troubling things. And Simon felt bad after the first one, 4 days in bed. Yeah. Wow. Bob Perkins is here to to just spread nonsense, right? Bob Perkins is here to just say nonsensical things that are disconnected and don't make any sense whatsoever. But yeah, we're always glad he's here to do that. Somebody's got to be completely disconnected, right? None of them affected Paragon Reason other than a sore arm. Yeah, I hear that too, but some of the things I think really the problem that I have with the whole situation is that you can't censor people who disagree with you. And they did. And, it turns out maybe a lot of those people were right. So that's why I'm really big on free speech. And the fact that we are now learning that our government actively censored people on social media and directed that censorship, somebody should be arrested, because that's a violation of civil rights. You're not allowed, if you're a government person, to just, decide that person doesn't get to say anything in the public sphere. And like it or not, social media is the new public sphere. And thank you, Scott Miller, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Thank you for helping us. I really appreciate it. And it's good. It's good. We have so much help with praising the cash lately. I appreciate all you people on Twitch and people here. Thanks for helping us to praise the cash, Scott Miller.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank you very much, Scott Miller. And I'll be sharing and reading any super chats till the end of the show. I will be sharing and putting them on screen and thanking you. We try to thank every single one of you, and but sometimes when I'm doing those presentations, I can't go far enough back to share it on the screen. We're good. We're all caught up, right? Yeah, no, it's okay. And I do think that there was a lot of, here's what I'll say. Some of those conspiracy theories were wackadoodle that were causing hesitancy. That's why I included it, because I think that a lot of people were saying you remember the people that were saying that, oh, this has got nanites in it, alien technology in it, that's got this in it or that in it, and we're all going to turn into this or that, or there was some real wackadoo conspiracy theories. I wasn't talking about the people who were, let's just say, sounding alarm bells about the safety and effectiveness of it. I don't think those people should have been silenced at all, right? I don't think those people should have been silenced at all. Scott Miller saying, praise the cash. Yes, praise the cash. Hallelujah. Yeah, and what an incredible couple of weeks we've had. I also want to, let me see here if I can find it. I think I have it somewhere. Yeah, we hit a major milestone recently, which is great. It's 750,000 views we hit. And to me, that is amazing and worthy of a little, recognition of that. So thanks to all who helped us. Everybody, all you people, incredible. It took me so long to get to 1 million views on my other channel. I think it took 10 or 12 years. But I wasn't trying to be a YouTuber. I was just putting artistic projects up and stuff like that. So maybe that's the difference. Yeah, I don't really know. But here we are, 750,000 views on YouTube, thanks to our chat room moderators. Many of you have been here since the start of this thing, or mostly. And well, there was a period when we started where everybody had a wrench, and that didn't work out well. But and thanks to Spooky and all of you viewers, amazing. We're closing in. We're going to hit that million. One of my goals was 1 million views. Of course, one of my other goals is 10,000 subscribers. We're closing in on those goals. And boy, I got to tell you that it feels good. I knew it would be hard, these goals. In fact, there was a time when I thought that's impossible. I'm not even going to try to hit those kind of goals. And then I thought to myself, if I just decide those goals are impossible, they will be. So I said, no, I'm going to set these goals. The goals that I set were 10,000 subscribers, 1 million views. And it was some time ago, granted, but every day I came here and I watered that garden. Every day I showed up to the track and I ran that track trying to get to that finish line, and it's within reach. 1 million views will be here soon, sooner than I think, maybe, and 10,000 subscribers will as well. And thanks to all of you for watching, for listening on the audio podcast. I really and truly appreciate it. This thing has taken on a life of its own, becoming bigger than I ever thought it would be. There was a time when I did this audio podcast and literally nobody cared. It was like being a voice in the wind that no one heard. And that's sad when you put time and energy and passion and dedication into something. So it's good to see the universe rewarding me. And we're going to get to these goals. Thanks to all who helped so far. And we're going to continue in this journey. Deb from Sac says, shoot for the stars. Simon Fly, congratulations. Sweet Caroline says, Bob, I have no clue what you're talking about. Nobody ever does. Don't you know? It's Bob's thing. He just comes here and he says random crap and nobody understands what he's talking about, right? Look at this. True story. Sometimes animal comes in your life and you have that position. Becoming a cat yourself. King of the jungle. Yeah, because all this makes sense, right? Jeez, man. Jeez. So questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. And I think what we're going to do is, yeah. Let me, geez, I am just at a loss here. I'm sorry. I'm getting messages and a little bit distracted. Let's refocus. We'll get through this. This is, yeah. I found some interesting things besides to share, but I think in the interest of time, we're going to call this one a short one. So thanks to all of you for watching, for listening. 750,000 views we got there, and we'll get to the million. I'm sure that we're going to get to the million. And glad to be with you on this journey. It's been great. Okay, Sopranos fan, opinion on Command Sergeant Major Robert Dean. Well, I liked his initial stories, but Robert Dean suffered from something that we commonly call here UFO disease. And that is that Robert Dean came out with for those unaware of who Robert Dean is, he was a former military officer, and he came out with a very believable story that in the 1960s, he was working for NATO, for the U.S. military. And while there, he saw some top secret information in a briefing called The Assessment. And the assessment talked about extraterrestrial visitation on Earth, why they were here, what species we knew about, crash landings, recovered technology, bodies, the works. And I suppose because of Dean's military background, and by the way, he was quite like a dapper guy, right? And well-spoken, thoughtful speaker, convincing. People believed his story, and so did I. But as time went on, Bob Dean, by the way, would start making the rounds of the UFO circuit with his initial story, which again was very believable. No evidence. He had no evidence, but he had a good background to his story, and his background could be verified. He was who he says he was, and he worked where he said he worked. So the story rang very true. But so Robert Dean would work at UFO conferences telling these stories, selling a book or whatever he was selling, and very believable initial story. But as time went on, Bob Dean's stories got more and more grand. He added new layers and started telling new stories that were even more fantastical and even more without evidence or proof. And as time went on, and of course, this is because of what I call UFO disease. You see, these people come out with their initial story, and then they work the UFO circuit for a couple of years. In some cases, half a decade, 5 years. But at some point, the bookings slow down because they've told their initial stories, but people grow tired of them. The initial story. How many times do you want to see Robert Dean at a UFO conference telling the same stories? So inevitably, and this is not just Robert Dean, this happens to all of them, or many people, their initial story, which may be grounded in facts and truth, sort of takes a sideline to new, better, some would say, more fantastical stories. And as time went on, Robert Dean continued to do this. So he went from initially being very, very believable. He sort of exuded, and I don't know if it was real or not, but he sort of exuded charisma and integrity. Looked the part, former military guy, very patriotic, cares about this country, cares about its people. But again, as time went on, Robert Dean became increasingly more of just a storyteller. And near his death, he was still trying to work the UFO circuit, but he was talking about his superpowers, how he was a god somehow, and how he had superpowers, and about his previous lives. So It depends on which Robert Dean you're talking about. If you're talking about the first guy I mentioned, who was, still believable, that guy I liked. But there was a slow evolution into wacky town for Robert Dean. And eventually, like I said, he got to the point where he was telling people he was some kind of god or he had godlike powers. And he started talking about all his previous lives and how he was, famous people in all his previous lives. Because everybody is always somebody famous. You never hear from somebody that recalls past lives that says, I was a janitor in ancient Rome. I cleaned the toilets, never. It's always Caesar or, somebody important. But that's what I think of Robert Dean, right? Paragon reason. Why would somebody like Corso lie? I don't get what drives people to lie with such grandiosity. Do they believe it in their minds, which normalizes their behavior? Yeah, I mean, Corso, to be honest, I think Corso was easily proven wrong just by the dates of the scientific research at the companies that he claimed were getting alien technology. The transistor was well on its way before anything from him, and the same for everything. Kevlar, the fiber optics, all that stuff was well on its way to creation. And I just don't find his story credible. Why did he lie? A lot of people said he saw the big money in UFO and alien stuff, and he wanted to cash in his credibility. After all, he worked at the Foreign Technology, right, division. So if anybody would know about this stuff, he should know about this stuff. A lot of people say he just wanted to cash in and get a lot of money to leave to his children and grandchildren. I've heard many, many people say that. Does that explain it? Not adequately, not to me, but that's what many people see, right? Did I see the DNI on Fox recently talking about UAPs defying the laws of physics with no no natural explanation? Technologies we don't have as a superpower. Well, you're sounding very, very specific. So no, I haven't seen that clip. Maybe I need to catch up. But people say a lot of things on television. Doesn't mean it's true, right? Have you dug into giggling Ivan Teller? No, I have not done that. Should I? I don't know. What's my take on Richard Hoagland? Well, look, I grew up with that Mars face. Man, I wanted that to be true, because to me, that would have just confirmed everything, that the aliens are real. There was really aliens. There was aliens on the moon, and they built a monument. I really wanted to believe that, but it's not true. And the fact that Hoagland to this day has never backed down. He's got some kind of excuses for why that face on Mars is still real. And the whole pyramids thing is kind of wacky to me. And he claims it's all science and math, but when you get into it, you get lost in the weeds. I don't find Hoagland at all credible. I find him to be another guy with something to sell you, right? It would be impossible for them, I think it would be impossible for them to hide the Mars face being real. Too many people have high-powered telescopes, even amateurs now, right? Yeah. Oh, God, what are you on about, Bob, right? The laws of physics don't scale well? I don't know about that. Corso went broke from his disclosures, and his first book was free. His old colleagues suing him left and right for disclosing their names. Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't heard that. Could be right. But it's also correct. It would also be correct to say that Corso made millions of dollars from that book. Millions of dollars. So, I don't know. I guess I want to see a spreadsheet. How much did he get sued for? How much did he spend on lawyers? How much did he take in? Right? Chris Johansson says, Corso is a tough one. I don't believe his story, but I don't think he is the typical BSer either. I don't know what to think of him. Yeah, many people kind of think that. I would tend to agree, right? I would tend to agree. Yeah, the money went to his heirs. And by the way, his son is still running around promoting that book and talking about the things in the book. His son is a true believer. So it is what it is, right? And now we're on to some kind of time travel stories from his son to explain the Roswell event. Like he cracked the code and it was time travelers from the future. And we got to hurry up and make this time travel space machine so that it could go back in time and crash in 1947, or the timeline will get destroyed and all this stuff. B. Baker, it's wild. Look into his son. It's really, really wild. Yeah, well, like I said, people say a lot of things. I want to see the data, Sopranos fan. Don't get too excited until you see the data. Because remember all the data they promised us about the TikTok and all that? And Go Fast and those three, right? The gimbal. Look, we never got any data. People made a lot of claims about the flight characteristics of the things in those three videos. Never has it been proven. And it's 5 years from, ago now, right? More. We're still waiting for the evidence of the claims people made based on those videos. So I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm skeptical to anybody making claims. I really don't care who they are. You can put, anybody on a TV screen to say things. I want to see the evidence, right? DJ D says video quality is better on Twitch. Well, that's bizarre. Let me go over there and take a look. I wasn't aware of that. Interesting to know. Well, maybe Twitch is just better at sucking the signal. Signal suckers. That's what the problem is. That's definitely the problem. All right. So, and I want to check over there. I don't really know how to spot X Ricky Sauce. We want to thank X Ricky Sauce and My Flock and all you kind people buying people's subs, right? Very, very kind of you. And I'm over in the Twitch live chat. I'm just going to say hello and welcome. And just so you know, I do see all your comments. Those people that are in the Twitch live chat, I see all your comments. It gets aggregated all together. So thank you for being there. We appreciate you, Twitch friends, and thanks for everybody buying people's subs and throwing some money in our Twitch hat. We got multiple hats out. This is great. This is great. It's like busking, but you have like a hat on two different corners now. I appreciate all you people throwing a couple bucks in our hat. It really does help the show, right? I don't change live chat from top chat, and it keeps telling me your video isn't live. Very weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's about, right? Yeah, Tall Starlight. He's another guy, David Serrata. Do you know I was supposed to interview him 3 times, and all 3 times something happened, and he couldn't do it? But I'm going to ask him again because I'd like to grill him about some of the stuff that he sells, those wands that he sells, right? I think he's another one that suffered from UFO disease. He seemed very credible and trustworthy and believable when he first came out. And he had a great documentary. I forget the name of it. And then after that, it just went total new age woo, that guy did. And now he's selling like magic wands or something with crystals and shit in them. I don't understand it. I don't understand how people get down these paths and end up in Woo Town when they start out pretty credible. But it looks like the more you need money, the more woo you go. And that happens. I hope it doesn't happen to me, right? I'll start selling crystals and orgone pyramids and stuff, right? So questions or comments for me, please put them all capital letters. Yeah. Bob Berkins is here with continual nonsense. I got that vision game online of chicken falling in the device to win time. Okay, Bob Berkins. I don't know what that guy smokes, but Jesus. This is every show he comes here and does this, the whole show. Give Give any of them time and the grift will shine. Yeah, do you think that's what it is, Mike? I think as they go on, they get a taste of the money, right? When they're telling their first story that is sort of credible. And then they don't want to give up the money, but they've run out of stories to tell. More specifically, they've run out of stories to sell. Not just tell. They've run out of stories to tell, but they've really run out of stories to sell. And so they need more. And things get more fantastical the longer you are there, right? The longer they're there, the grifts get bigger, the claims get more fantastical, the willingness to use anonymous sources and unverified information as supposedly factual becomes more and more. There's an urgency, right? NCO1. Luis Elizondo is the biggest fake, never worked for the government at all. He was broke too when he pretended to be some kind of informant. No, he did work for the Pentagon. That much is true, but he lied about running a UFO program because that didn't really exist. It was kind of like his hobby thing, and it wasn't funded, and we were lied to. That man lied to everyone. And why doesn't anybody ask him about the TTSA? We're going to build a spaceship scam that scammed investors out of $3 million. How much of that money did he get out of that $3 million? And doesn't he think the people that invested in that, since it turned out that that was all bull, should get their money back? What was your opinion on former head of Israeli space program, Haim Eshed, saying there's a galactic federation of extraterrestrials? That was fake story. Essentially what happened is that Haim Eshed's granddaughter heard some stories about galactic federations of extraterrestrials. And who did his granddaughter hear that from? From Laura Eisenhower, one of the biggest wackadoos in UFO land. No offense, Laura. I love her. She's a nice lady, but Jesus, she talks about some wacky, nutty stuff. And so what really happened is Haim Eshed's granddaughter heard some of these stories from Laura Eisenhower about aliens and Galactic Federation. And so the granddaughter tells Haim Eshed about that stuff. And then in an interview, he repeated that he had heard these stories of a Galactic Federation of extraterrestrials from his granddaughter. But somehow people turned that into him confirming the existence of extraterrestrials. And that is not the case. And that is not what really happened. He didn't say that he was confirming. Somebody asked him about things. He said, well, I heard these stories from my granddaughter about aliens and things. He never confirmed the existence of extraterrestrials. People misquoted him, twisted the story around to sell a fake story. And that's what that is. And just a long line of another fake story. Clickbait garbage. That's what that story was. I am always skeptical when they throw important information discoveries behind a paywall. Well, you might want to join my Patreon, Davina, to get the real story on that and the real truth about that. It's on my page. No. Yeah. I hate having a paywall, but ours is $1, and we give people a lot of extras. You will find these members things, though, that a lot of these people run. A lot of these cosmic con artists, they have their Patreons or whatever. Buy my $333 course, and then you can listen behind my paywall, and it's really scammy. It's really, really scammy. You're right. If somebody had really important, true information that affected all of humanity, would they go, oh, you got to buy a membership for $10, or you have to take my course for $333 to get this important secret insider information I have? No, I don't think that people, if they had real earth-changing information that was true, would do that. Elizondo did not work for the government. He was given permission to latch onto existing program, but it got canceled. He worked at the Pentagon. He worked at the Pentagon. That's the government, dude. The Pentagon is the government. Yes, he worked for the Pentagon. But he did not work for the Pentagon doing UFO stuff. He had a very boring desk job involving his field of education. So he did work for the government, and he was in the military as well. That's also working for the government. He did not run a UFO program for the Pentagon like he claimed, however. But facts matter, he did work for the government. That's why people think he's credible, even though he worked for the same government that apparently has been lying to us about extraterrestrials for 100 years, right? All of them are CIA tied. Travis, CIA. Landowner, CIA. They're to dupe people. Yeah, look over here for the aliens and the werewolves. Don't look at the Black Budget Project. I agree. Where did you get that take on Haim Eshed? That contradicts a bunch of articles. Just curious. Somebody fact-checked that article and found that that was the truth. If I have to, I'll dig it out for you, but that's exactly what happened, and I even confirmed that. So just because you read it in a newspaper article or a web article doesn't mean that was correct, what they said. And somebody did a follow-up to those articles went viral about him saying that. And it all turned out to be BS. His granddaughter. You look into it. Do I got to find it for you? Really? We did a show. Go watch every show I've ever done. On one of the shows, we showed the article that proves that that was all garbage story. This YouTuber, Honest Reviews, started a GoFundMe for David Sereda's wife's cancer treatment. He made one video speaking on it, getting scammed in 2020. Well, Paul Starlight, unfortunately, David Sereda's wife did pass away, and I think from cancer. So it's really unfortunate. Davina TK and Jolly worked for the government too, didn't she? Yes, twice. Well, multiple times. First, she was in the military. Then she worked for she worked in information warfare for the Defense Intelligence Agency, both as a direct employee and then later as a subcontractor for the Defense Intelligence Agency. And her field of expertise, information warfare. Yeah. Look, have facts in hand before putting your mouth in gear, please. And I don't want to lose my patience with any of you, but I have to warn you that I've had my children all day and night for the past 2 days. So my patience level is a little low. He worked at the Pentagon. That's where he worked. There's paperwork that he signed from the Pentagon. He worked for the Pentagon. I have paperwork that he signed. Do you know who had a release, who had to go get authorization to get those videos out? Lou Elizondo. There's paperwork with his signature on it. He worked there. What's your take on Autek and the hot zone pyramids? And did you watch Underwater? You know, I don't know. Maybe we'll do a show on the Autek and the hot zone pyramids. I think there could be something to it, but it seems like the evidence for that, like the evidence for a lot of these things, is pretty ice. It's thin as ice, right? I you know, I could be incorrect, but I'd like to see a lot more evidence before, and I mean, you know, like a dive confirming these things, other than just stories. Because largely what we get is anecdotes, and anecdotes, while are sometimes incredibly entertaining, it's not data to me. I want to see pictures, films, you know, interview the diver who went and took the pictures and films, that sort of thing. But yeah, it is what it is. What about the people with UFO near-death experience or stories that don't ask for money or grift? Well, I'm a lot more inclined to believe people who have not monetized their stories. So in other words, if I have to interview two people that had a near-death experience, but one wrote a book and wants to promote their book, and the other one just wants to be a guest on the show and tell me about their near-death experience, I'm instantly more apt to believe the person that's not selling something. That's just the way I feel about it. You may feel differently, right? Well, that's what we're here for, Simon Fly. We're giving you content for your future creation. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yes, I agree. DJD says not asking for money gives credibility a bump. And thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, and for being a channel member. We appreciate all you channel members and all you Patreon supporters. And by the way, when I get a chance, I'm going to change that. I know at the end of every show, we have this banner that says, thank you, Patreon supporters. And someone reminded me that I should thank you, channel members, as well. So I'm going to make a new graphic. And yes, I agree with you. Everybody should be recognized. And we have an attitude of gratitude about all of you guys. So certainly I'll change that when I get a chance. So that's all I got for you, friends. We are going to bounce on out of here. I want to thank you, kind and generous benefactors. I want to thank the audience for joining us, the chat room moderators, and Spooky, of course, for the graphics as usual. We will be back. We will be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll have a different kind of a show for you tomorrow night. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be here, and I hope you will be here too. So until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambian. Good night, and God bless all of you.